This is EMDSD14R, and this is what I got for my birthday, 2017. Yet again, I'm late on making this video. Like, I'm super, super late. Just had other things to do, and I never got around to making it. So let's get started. As you can see by the lineup, there's a whole bunch of DVDs I gotta go through. So, yeah, let's get started. So, if you saw my Christmas video, you guys know about the Girls and Panzer series that I mentioned. Well, they have a couple of overs. Now, overs are basically like short films or like short in-between clips between series. Sometimes overs are just standalone. But yeah, this is basically the Girls and Panzer OVA, and it shows them fighting. What school are they fighting? Anzo High School. So yeah, basically that's just the OVA of the battle you didn't see in the TV series. And then Strike Witches. Strike Witches, I think, is a pretty good anime. It takes place in World War II, and I think they're called the Nora. The Nori. So the Nori basically are this advanced unknown species of mechanical machines that have taken over parts of the world, and young girls with these unique capabilities are trained to fight them, and they fly in these leg propeller driven devices, and they basically shoot the enemy out the sky. It's pretty funny. They actually made a movie about it too. I think it's pretty funny. I just looked at the picture one day and I just decided to buy it. Like, that's how I am with some things, or a lot of things. If I see something that just catches my eye and I think it's good, like 98 to 99% of the time, I'm right on that. So, yeah. Oh, and another thing. This is my friend, Akin. He's in Malvern. Scoops and Smiles, the most awesome ice cream you'll ever have. I'm telling you, you guys don't know what you're missing with this. So I highly recommend, if you're in Malvern, he's on King Street. Water ice all year round, ice cream all year round, soft pretzels. What else does he have? He's got so much. He's great guy, practically family. He actually was handing out my business cards. If you guys have, if you guys are in this area and you got my business cards, he offered to hand them out for me. So thank you, Akin, for that. Really appreciate it. So I'm just helping you out too, brother. So highly recommend. Moving on to the trains. This is the Mexico trilogy, tape number 3. So it's the Desert. So it's the Desert FT, the FCP North End, the Nacozari Railroad, the Sonora Baja California Railway. So basically, if you're looking at this picture, you guys know what that is. That's the world's only operational FT-103, which is former Northern Pacific number 5700A. You actually get to see this engine in passenger service in this video, both in cab and trackside. Now, there are videos of it up on YouTube, and there's one particular one where it has an unusual horn. It doesn't have that horn in this video, but this is a very rare video. Bought this online, and highly recommend, if you guys can find that tape or DVD, I highly recommend getting it. This is another one. Ooh, that fell. I'll get that. So this is another tape. This is by Railroad Video Productions. This is the Harrisburg to Suburban Station cab ride. Now, I know you guys are familiar with the SEPTA incident when the Silverliner 5s failed, and Amtrak equipment was going into 30th Street up on the upper level. Well, it turns out they actually had that go on. When was this film? This was filmed in 1984. So, in 1984, Amtrak Keystone trains were going to the upper level at 30th Street and to Suburban Station. So I don't know if anybody actually got this on film, but it really happened. So it's not the first time that Amtrak 8 EM7s or Amtrak trains went to the upper level at 30th Street. Um, and you get to see some rare footage. You get to see the Metroliners on the Keystone Corridor. You get to see the Silverliner 1 or Silverliner 2s and 3s and 4s. There's a lot of great footage in here. Unfortunately, there's some editing issues that I think should be addressed because there's certain key points that I think they should have filmed and they weren't filmed. So that's just my little opinion on that. And I wish they actually did film them because they actually missed some key parts on that trip. Now this one, if you guys like Ace Combat, and I'm telling you, I'm a huge Ace Combat fan. If you guys have ever wanted to see an anime that had Ace Combat in it, this is the one to get. Now there is Microcross. Microcross is good. I like Microcross, but this one is not different. This one is not like Microcross. The jets don't transform into giant mechanized robots. These jets look like the ones in Ace Combat, like the Fenrir, a whole bunch of other futuristic jets. I think it's called Yukaze. I think that's what it's called. It's by Anime Legend. Very hard to get. Basically, the Earth is fighting these super advanced aliens, and we have this one particular jet which goes by that name. It's super advanced and has its like artificial intelligence, so it can fly itself and make its own decisions. And the whole series is just amazing. Like, I don't know why it was cut short, but I think they should have made more. But there's Microcross, so if you guys like Microcross, which I do, that's another one. But I highly recommend getting that one. This one is from Highball Graphics. It's the Box Cabs and Suburban Electrics from Canadian National. So the box cabs were from GE, and they were also made by English Electric. And then you have the steeple cab or the center cab GE Electrics. You also get to see the Canadian, I think it's Canadian Car and Foundry MU coaches in here. Yeah, here you go. So I highly recommend getting this one too. Unfortunately, you don't get to see the box cabs operating at night. At night, they actually got to pull freight trains, so unfortunately, there wasn't any footage of that, which I would have loved to see the box cabs pull late night freight operations. Logan, I actually got this one, and I will say it was good. I didn't like the ending, though. Like, I'm going to be totally honest. I did not like the ending. Didn't like the ending at all. Didn't like the ending. It just really tugs at your heart, man. I mean, the way that they did it was just, oh man. Actually, to be honest with you, I haven't watched it. Like, I watched it twice, but I haven't watched it since because of that ending. Like, it's just like one of those things. Like, dag, it's really emotional how they did that. Really, Hugh Jackman, mad props, mad props. I wish he would do another one. I hope that some way, somehow, Wolverine somehow gets resurrected and he comes back, because no one can replace Hugh Jackman on that. I'm just going to be honest. Phenomenal actor. And these are from World Rail series. These are tapes on the railroads in Cuba. So in these, you get to see the Hershey Railroad. You get to see GE Steeple Cab Electrics, Brills. You get to see old Baldwin's operating. You also get to see export EMDs, export Alco. I forget what they're called. They're the I forget what they're called, but you get to see the G12s in here. You get to see Russian-built diesels. I know what that one is. I can't remember it though. RDCs are in here as well. You get to see trains from France, like the like cars from the original TEE train, or not the TEE train, but the French Grand. I think it's the Grand Comfort. I forget what it's called. But yeah, lot of interesting equipment in that video. Highly recommend getting both of these if you can find them. Then this is a Pentrex tape on the Missouri, Kansas, Texas. I was really curious about the Missouri, Kansas, Texas, and I wanted to get this DVD, and I'm really glad I did. I'm really glad I did. This was just before, like it was just before and during the takeover by Union Pacific. You get to see a lot of interesting equipment here, including one of the last surviving F units in operation, but it was being used as a B unit. So it wasn't leading any trains. But that's a really, really good tape. And then this is another anime that I like. Can Cole, Fleet Girls Collection, the complete series. They're actually making another season of this too. Now, if you play World of Warships, you can actually play all these characters in the game. And one particular YouTuber, I forget their name, but they've customized their ships so much that they, like, each time they fire, they say like a word in Japanese or something like that, which is really cool. Like that series, very cool. This is a Greg Scholl video. Greg Scholl Video Productions tape. It's specifically on the CSX-F units. This is when they were on the road railer trains, like the very first road railer trains, and they really did great with this footage. Yeah, the last operational F units on a Class 1 railroad, really good. And I know you guys are probably looking at this when you're saying, "Oh my God." Yes, this is a video solely on tracking the SEPTA Silverliners, but this is Volume 2. I didn't find Volume 1. I'm still looking for it. I hope to get it, but everybody's seen Silverliner. That's a Silverliner 2? Silverliner 3, I think. Silverliner 3? Yeah. Pretty sure 239 is a Silverliner 3. St. Louis Bud. I've ridden on this car. This is the paint scheme for the airport line, obviously. It's got good footage. You get to see the 8EM7s in here as well. Just there's some questionable editing on this one, like, or words, but other than that, it's a good DVD to get. If you get your hands on it, I recommend it. Another anime. Is it wrong to pick up girls in a dungeon? Now, if you're looking at that title saying, "Oh my God, it's about a guy that goes into a dungeon and just picks up girls," no, that's not what the story is about. It's basically an anime based on like Greek mythology. Like these adventurers go into the dungeon and they have to kill these monsters in order to, get these jewels, and they're basically under these gods and goddesses. You have Hermes, you have Hephaestus, you have Aphrodite. What's her name? Her name is, what's her name? I should know her name. Hestia. Her name's Hestia. So yeah, Hestia is really, I think she's adorable, just phenomenally adorable. And not only just because of the character design, but the Japanese voice actress and the American voice actress, perfect pick for that character. Perfect pick. Highly recommend getting that. They actually made a spin-off series of this. I didn't really get into it because it's basically a recap of the same story, but just from another character's perspective. So I really didn't get into that one, but they are making a second season, I think, of that one. I'm pretty sure they are. And then moving on, this is the Girls in Panzer movie, which I think you should really get. It's really cool. You get to see all your cool tanks. You get to see, Crusader tanks. You get to see the Churchill. You get to see the Shermans, IS-4s. You get to see the KV-2s, or KV, I think it's a KV-2s. I know they're KV types. And then you get to see T-28 Super Heavy. That thing is a beast in this movie. Whew. Scary. But really good acting, really good series or movie, great plot and everything. Highly recommend seeing that. Campione. Now, this is another one on Greek mythology. It didn't get a second season. Um, it's it's good with the Greek mythology. The characters in there, it's you know, it's a bit well, you see the logo down there, but it's funny. I think it's funny. The main character pretty much gets beat up by the first girl right off the bat, like she tries to rob him. So that's pretty funny. Oh, hold on, let me get my phone. So yeah, sorry about that. My phone rang. But yeah, the main character Kusanagi Goto basically gets beat up by this first girl who's right there. Her name is, what is her name? Erica. And she basically tries to rob him in the beginning because he's carrying this tablet. And eventually she falls in love with him, but then there's these other girls that come along in the series. Even the goddess, what's her name? Um, Good grief. Where is it? I forget her name. But anyway, even one of the goddesses that he's supposed to vanquish falls in love with him, in love with him. It's just it's funny. It's got weird quotes in there, but he pretty much gets his butt handed to him a lot. Like really, really. I mean, he can fight, but in the beginning he just got his butt handed to him. But that's a pretty good anime. Um, but moving on, this is Galaxy Railways. So if you guys are familiar with Galaxy Railways, there's an anime. It's an anime series about trains that fly in space. If you guys are familiar with Express 999, that was another series about trains in space, but it was a little different than Galaxy Railways. This movie actually interlinks Express 999 and Galaxy Railways. It's actually an in-between movie between between season 1 of Galaxy Railways and season 2 of Galaxy Railways. Yes, there is a second season of Galaxy Railways, and it is crazy expensive. Crazy expensive. But you can easily find the Galaxy Railways, A Letter from an Abandoned Planet, and it's really cool. Now, if you're looking at Big One is basically, from Sirius Platoon. It's based off of the Union Pacific Big Boy, and it's a really, really cool locomotive. In this movie, it's actually been heavily rebuilt, as you can see. You're going to have to watch the series to actually get the gist of that. I believe they're making a live-action movie with this in Japan. I don't know when that's coming out, but I heard that there's going to be a live-action version of Galaxy Railways. I'm not sure when that's coming out. I'm not sure if they're still making it, but I haven't heard anything about it in the last, I'd say, year or so. So keep an eye on that. John Wick and John Wick 2. Keanu Reeves. Wow. Just, if you guys saw these, you know what I'm talking about. But I got these for my birthday, so can't get enough of these movies. Although the thing is with the second one thing I do question, when he was trying to get his Mustang back, why didn't he just kill or knock out all the guys that were in the speed shop so he could just drive away without getting his Mustang messed up? I mean, he was capable of doing that. He could just knock them all out or incapacitated them and then just drove off with his car. Instead of doing that, he was so eager to get his car that he just ran past them, jumped in his car, and basically announced his presence by starting it up and trying to drive away. His Mustang got messed up. I mean, I was, cringing the whole time every time he took a hit in that thing. It didn't even look like a Mustang. I mean, he drove it home, but couldn't he have just knocked all the guys out beforehand and just drove away? But I guess that wouldn't have been as interesting, so I guess they did it that way. But, yeah, cool. Cool movies. Cool movies. Okay, Shaka the Coughing Princess Season 1 and Season 2. This is basically set in medieval time, but they have magical vehicles and stuff. Basically, this, what's his name? Gaz. His name is Gaz. So he basically takes he has these all these daughters, and they have their memories erased, but all they have in their mind is they have to find his remains and basically reconstitute his body. And it's a great story. It's funny, and but the plot is really good. Highly recommend getting it. I think they should have made a third season about it, but they didn't. And then this is Valexi. I think I'm pronouncing the name right. Um, Basically 3D animation. It's about the future. These are basically U.S. troops with like super suits, and their whole primary mission is to track down these terrorists, and they actually track them to Japan, which basically Japan has isolated itself from the rest of the world, and their mission was to find these terrorists and also find out what was going on in Japan and why they isolated themselves from the rest of the world. So that's pretty much what that story is about. It's probably not as accurate of a description I like to give, but that's what it is. And then this is Undefeated Bahamut Chronicle. I'm definitely not pronouncing that right. But it's set in like kind of like medieval times, but technological. There's technology, like there's these giant mecha machines. I think it's funny. I think it's funny. It's really good. They're bringing a second season out of this, by the way. I don't think they made an English dub version either. I don't think they made one. No, they didn't. I actually have this version, and I have the Japanese version. And Heavy Object. Oh my goodness. Heavy Object. These, wow. This should definitely get a third season. I don't know why they haven't made a third season of Heavy Object, but they really should. So basically, if you know how wars are fought, you basically have a whole bunch of troops, men, tanks, aircraft, and they basically fight, right? Well, basically heavy objects are these super massive machines that can either walk, crawl, or hover above the ground, and they basically it's a one-man army. These basically solve conflicts because there is no war when this anime takes place. The only war is taking place with these giant machines called heavy objects. And I think this guy's name is Anther. I think his name is Anther. What is his name? Well, anyway, they basically are tasked with destroying these machines in... They basically find the machine's weaknesses because heavy objects are supposed to be impenetrable, or impenetrable, and you can't destroy them. But they actually find weaknesses in all these machines, and they actually destroy them. And it's really cool. It's really cool. Both series, like season 1 and season 2. The main captain, I think she's a captain. Is she a captain or she's a base commander? Or general. She actually has a pretty deep story. She's basically a prize for all these other royalty. So basically, she has a unique ability where, well, you know what? I'm not going to say anything. I'll give too much away. But it's kind of she has a really sad story, but she's a very strong individual. But yeah, I don't want to give too much away because I just ruin it for y'all. But, yeah, I went and talked my head off about these videos. Oh, wait a minute. I didn't even go down here. I skipped all these. So, let me speed this up a little bit. So, this is another Pentrix tape. Tracks across Arizona. Shows the Arizona short lines. You get to see the Grand Canyon Railroad, the Apache Railroad, Burlington Northern Santa Fe, obviously. And then this is Rail Track Media. North Shore Mining Railroad, they call it the Little Giant. This railroad actually operates the rare EMD SD28s, which is basically a deturbocharged version of the SD35. So, most people, or a lot of people, think that there was only 6 SD28s built. That is actually incorrect. There was actually 12 SD28s built. 2 were for the Columbus and Greenville. 4 were for North Shore Mining. I don't know what it was called back then. And then there was an additional 6 called the SD28P that were exported to Korea for Co-Rail. So just to let you guys know that. So there's actually now, yeah, there's actually 11 now, because one of the Columbus and Greenville units, which was the 9451, was destroyed in the wreck. 9450, as of right now, is still around, but it's in one of the storage yards at National Railway Equipment, and it doesn't look in good shape, honestly. Just a little history right there. This is another tape. This is by Highball Productions. It's the Mississippi River Line. This is made right around the time, maybe a couple, I would say right around the early time CP took over the Soo line, so a lot of engines were still painted in Soo. Very great tape, or, movie. I like it. And the cool thing about these is you have the option to watch it with narration or without narration, which I think is cool, because if you just don't want to hear narration, you just want to hear the trains and the nature and all that, you can just do that. Or if you want to hear the narration, you have that option. So, yeah. Yeah, Mom. Another DVD, and this is going to be the last one. This is Final Fantasy Kingsglaive, which I think is cool. I like Final Fantasy. Never played the games. Yeah, you're probably saying you don't know what you're missing. Yeah, I know. I haven't played the games, but I like the movies. Very good movie. So yeah, guys, I pretty much almost talked for 30 minutes about all the DVDs I got for my birthday. But I hope I shared some things with you that you would possibly want to pick up. And I hope you guys enjoyed this video. See ya.